Hi, I'm Craig from Penguin, and today I just want to talk a little bit about a simple wealth preservation strategy that not enough people take aware of. Lots of people in the UK who are still in work or who haven't fully retired yet have got some kind of pension death benefit in some way, shape or form, whether that be death in service through their work, where their employer has something in place where they pay out somewhere between 2 to 10 times their salary if something happens to the employer while the employee while he's employed by a company. And other people will have some kind of defined contribution, money purchase, personal pension or SIP, where they've built up a fund value where there's a pension fund of maybe £200,000 that if they die is going to pass to the next of kin. Now when I ask the question technically, people say, when I ask people what happens to your pension on death, does it pay any tax? People will immediately say no, and they are absolutely right. On the death of me as an individual, when I die, my pension fund or my death in service will pay tax-free to my next of kin, whether I name my spouse or my children. The challenge is, once my wife or children or partner have received that money in whatever format I've decided, that money is now part of their estate. I just want to run through a simple example of how, by seeking specialist advice from a qualified professional, you can make sure that you protect that money from future tax, but also protect it from other things that may go wrong in the survivors or your children's lives later down the line. So I've already prepared an example of Mr. and Mrs. Penguin. Mr. Penguin in this example, or this works both ways. Mr. Penguin in this example has got death in service benefits with his current employer of £200,000, and he also has personal pensions of another £200,000. It might be a SIP, it might be a stakeholder pension, it might be a personal pension, doesn't matter. But for these purposes, he's got £400,000. And I killed him off yesterday, so unfortunately Mr. Penguin didn't make it home yesterday. Mrs. Penguin is likely to tick the box that says to the pension providers and death in service, I want to take the money. So now £400,000 is going to be transferred into her estate. And this is fantastic. And if she's going to spend that money over the next 5-10 years on raising the kids or enjoying life or retiring herself, whatever it might be fantastic. But the chances are she's going to do something with that £400,000, and that £400,000 is now going to become part of her estate. So what she has now done without even realising is she has now increased the value of their total estate, assuming they've got a property or some other assets elsewhere. She has now increased the value of their estate by £400,000. So if she then dies 6 months later of that broken heart, that £400,000 could well be taxed at 40% on the way down to Jack and Jess. So we could see £160,000 in inheritance tax paid, depending on the value of their overall estate, lost on the way down to Jack and Jess. But there are some potentially even bigger dangers. If she goes on to marry young Jose, 6 months, 6 years, however long later it may be, if she's still got a will that says I leave everything to my husband, because she took receipt of the full monies, that money is now part of her estate. If they get divorced 6 months, 6 years after they marry, Jose has now got a claim on a share of that estate. It also means if she dies before him, and as I said, her will leaves everything to Jose, this £400,000 now goes here, and Jose will be able to distribute it as he sees fit, rather than the money originally ending up with Jack and Jess, as I'm sure Mr. Penguin and probably Mrs. Penguin would have wanted. So what's the solution? We believe that every family in the UK who've got this situation and they're concerned about what will happen beyond their death, beyond their life, should have what's called the Penguin Pension Trust. They should have a simple trust mechanism that will collect the death in service benefits and the personal pensions when something happens. So once you've set up the trust, we will take care of letting these people know that if something happens to Mr. Penguin or Mrs. Penguin, if it was the other way around, the money doesn't go directly to Mrs. Penguin, it now passes into the Penguin Pension Trust. The trustees of that trust we can discuss at a future date, but there will be 2 people in charge of that money. And if they want to, and if Mr. Penguin has agreed, they can still transfer the £400,000 across to Mrs. Penguin. But the difference is the trust will loan her the money, so there is now a debt against her estate. Why do we do that? Well, the key reason to do is if she does then die 6 months later of that same broken heart, that £400,000 is now a debt on the estate, so whatever she's done with the money, £400,000 will be deducted from the total estate, saving Jack and Jess £160,000 worth of tax. So for no other reason, there's your reason to do this kind of planning. That might be the primary driver. But potentially more importantly for some people, if Mrs. Penguin has had the money and she does meet young Jose, and Jose does divorce her or she dies before Jose, This £400,000 is not going over to Jose and his children or his next partner. That £400,000 on her death has to come back to the trust, and then it can be distributed later down the line to Jack and Jess. Now Mr Penguin could restrict what ages Jack and Jess receive it, and maybe say they might not get it as a lump sum, it can only provide income. But the key thing again that will happen beyond this is any money that is advanced to Jack and Jess to help them buy property, pay off their mortgages, whatever it might be, it will be loaned to them. So if Jack and Jess go through a divorce, a bankruptcy or a separation, the pension trust money will not end up as part of a divorce settlement or a bankruptcy settlement. It also means on death, they can't leave it to their future partners, and it makes sure this £400,000 or whatever becomes left down the generations stays in this bloodline and does not go out to future partners of the children or of Mrs Penguin. For more information on this, please download our trust brochure from the website, or give us a call and arrange to come in for a discovery meeting, and we'd be delighted to go through this with you and talk through all the pros and cons of putting this kind of plan in place. We believe everyone should be looking at this if they've got pension values or debt and service values. Thank you for watching.